Stop. Right now. What if everything you were taught about manifestation is neurologically wrong? You've been trying to think your way into a new reality, but neuroscience reveals that your brain is wired to keep you stuck in the same quantum field. I'll show you brain scans that prove why 99% of people fail at manifestation, and the only frequency that instantly rewires your consciousness for success. This is the neuroscientific proof that will fundamentally change how you understand that your observer brain creates reality. My name is Marcus Steinberg. You're watching NeuroQuantum, the only channel that proves quantum manifestation using real brain science. Here's what's happening in your brain right now. Every time you try to manifest, your prefrontal cortex activates a neural pathway that neuroscientists call the default mode network, the brain's anxiety center. This network was designed for survival, not creation. It scans for threats, replays past failures, and broadcasts a frequency of scarcity directly into its quantum field. So while you visualize abundance, your brain is literally broadcasting scarcity at the neural level. Here at NeuroQuantum, we've discovered that manifestation isn't about changing your thoughts. It's about changing your brain's operating system. And the neuroscientific proof is shocking. Most people believe that manifestation is a mental process. They think that if they just visualize hard enough, if they just believe hard enough, if they just maintain positive thoughts, reality will bend to their will. But this is a neurological illusion. Your brain has approximately 86 billion neurons, each capable of forming up to 7,000 synaptic connections. This creates a communication network with more possibilities than there are atoms in the observable universe. And in this vast neural network, there is a specific pattern, a frequency signature, that determines which reality you will collapse from the quantum field into. Most people are operating from neural patterns that were established in childhood, reinforced by trauma, and solidified by years of unconscious repetition. These patterns create what I call the neurological manifestation trap. Listen carefully. Joe Dispenza's latest neuroimaging studies reveal that people who struggle with manifestation have 67% less gamma wave activity in their brains, the same frequency that quantum physicists measure in states of coherence. This means that your consciousness is not just disconnected from the quantum field. Your brain is physically incapable of matching the vibration of what you want. Every failed manifestation attempt strengthens these neural pathways. Every failed visualization creates more neural resistance. You're not broken. Your brain just hasn't been trained in quantum neuroscience. But here's what happens when you don't understand that. You will spend years trying harder, pushing harder, believing the problem is your dignity, when the real problem is neurological. Your brain will keep collapsing the same limited reality, because that's what it was programmed to do. Consider this. Neuroscientists estimate that you have between 60,000 and 80,000 thoughts a day. Of these, 95% are the exact same thoughts you had yesterday. These repetitive thoughts create what we call neural loops. They are neurological highways that your brain travels automatically, without consciousness. And each time you cycle through these loops, you are literally carving deeper grooves into the tissue of your brain, making them stronger, more automatic, more dominant. The problem is that most of these loops were created in moments of stress, fear, or trauma. They carry the frequency of scarcity, limitation, and impossibility. And now, when you try to manifest abundance, love, or success, you are essentially trying to play a Mozart symphony on a piano that only has broken keys. Your brain simply doesn't have the neural infrastructure to support the vibration of what you want to create. Maria came to me in despair. 3 years trying to manifest. Daily visualizations, dream boards, meditation, affirmations recorded on my phone, forced gratitude even when everything fell apart. Result? 0. Worse still, his reality was deteriorating. Relationships were falling apart. His career was stagnant. His mental health was collapsing. Marcus, what's wrong with me? Why isn't it working? I hooked her up to the EEG machine. What I saw shocked me. As she manifested, her brain showed the opposite pattern of what needed to happen. Here's the first brutal truth no one tells you. Manifestation isn't about what you think. It's about how your brain flux. And 99.3% of people are oscillating at the wrong frequency. When you try to manifest, your prefrontal cortex activates in resistance mode. Neurons fire in patterns of effort, struggle, and need. It's like trying to float while swimming desperately. The quantum field responds to your neural oscillation, not to your pretty words, not to your positive thoughts, to your brain frequency. Roberto found this out in the most painful way possible. Successful executive, 15 years of personal development. He knew all the theory. He applied all the techniques. But when we mapped their neural activity during viewing, we discovered something devastating. Your brain never entered quantum coherence. Do you know what happens when your brain can't access quantum coherence? You get stuck in neurological loops, repeating the same patterns, generating the same reality. Forever. It's a neurological prison, and the key lies in a discovery that mainstream science completely ignores. In 2019, a study from the HeartMath Institute changed everything. For the first time in history, they were able to measure the exact moment when consciousness influences reality. What they discovered broke scientific paradigms. There is a 0.3-second window where your brain can literally rewrite probability fields. But here's the detail they didn't publish. Only 7% of the population can access this window naturally. The rest? They stay outside, knocking on the door, not knowing how to get in. Sarah was part of the 98.3% who couldn't. Personal trainer, organized life, disciplined with manifestation techniques for 6 years. 0 tangible results. When we analyzed their gamma waves, I discovered the problem. It was operating at 23 Hz. It needs to be at 40 Hz. The difference? Access to quantum field or not. Let me be brutally clear. Gamma waves of 40 Hz are the only frequency that allows observer effect. It is at this frequency that your consciousness synchronizes with the quantum field. It is at this frequency that probability becomes reality. It is at this frequency that manifestation happens instantaneously. Michael discovered this accidentally. I've been meditating for 20 years but never had any practical results. Until during one particular session, something different happened. He didn't try to manifest, he didn't focus on desires, he didn't visualize results, he simply watched. In 48 hours, your reality has changed inexplicably. A new business opportunity arose out of nowhere. A dead relationship was resurrected. A long-standing health problem simply disappeared. When I brought it in for analysis, I discovered what had happened. For 17 minutes, your brain oscillated in perfect gamma coherence of 40 Hz. He had accessed the quantum zone. And here's the neuroscientific proof that will change everything for you. Quantum manifestation is not a technique. It is a neurological state. It's not about doing. It's about being. It's not about thinking right. It's about oscillating right. When you observe your brain during successful manifestation, something extraordinary happens in your neural networks. Instead of the chaotic, scattered patterns of the default mode network, your brain enters what researchers call global coherence, where all neural regions synchronize to the same frequency. In this state, your brain doesn't just think about what you want. It becomes a living transmitter, transmitting that reality into the quantum field with laser-like precision. This is not metaphysical theory. This is measurable, quantifiable brain science. At NeuroQuantum, we've analyzed over 200 brain scans of successful manifestors, and they all show the same pattern. Their brains learn to observe reality from a completely different neural state. Here at NeuroQuantum, we discovered something revolutionary. There is a specific sequence of neural activation that guarantees access to the quantum field. We call it the quantum manifestation protocol. It's not traditional meditation. It's not ordinary visualization. It's targeted neurological reprogramming. First, you need to understand the 3 brain stages. Stage 1, neural reset, 0.05 minutes. Your brain needs to stop operating in survival mode. Cortisol drops, gamma waves begin to emerge. Observer consciousness activates in the prefrontal cortex. Stage 2, frequency alignment, 5 to 12 minutes. Neural oscillation synchronizes at 40 Hz. Field coherence is established. Quantum entanglement between consciousness and reality occurs. Stage 3. Reality calibration, 12 to 17 minutes. The observer effect manifests. Probability fields collapse into specific outcomes. New neural pathways consolidate. But here's the detail that makes all the difference: the exact sequence of activation. Elena learned this after 4 months of total frustration. I tried meditating, visualizing, affirming. Nothing worked. Then I teach her the specific quantum protocol. The result? Within 9 days, the apartment she'd been expressing for 2 years was available, at the exact price she could afford, in the exact location she wanted. Coincidence? We mapped her brain throughout the process. In the first 4 minutes, unstable theta waves. Between 5 to 12 minutes, perfect 40 Hz gamma coherence. From 12 to 17 minutes, total neural synchronization. She had accessed quantum zone and rewritten her reality. But there is one element that 99% of people completely ignore: timing. Quantum manifestation works on specific neurological cycles. There are 4 daily windows where your brain can access gamma coherence naturally: 6:30 a.m., low cortisol, declining melatonin; 12:30 p.m., neural reset natural; 6:30 p.m., circadian transition; 11:30 p.m., theta preparation. Outside these windows, impossible to access quantum field consistently. Daniel tried for months at random times. 0 results. He shifted to the correct neurological windows. Within 12 days, he manifested the promotion he'd been seeking for 3 years. Here is the definitive neuroscientific proof. Recent studies show that during gamma coherence, the brain produces 400% more BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This means 4 times more neuroplasticity, 4 times more capacity to rewiring neural pathways, 4 times more power to rewrite reality patterns. It's literally a brain upgrade. And when you combine this with quantum field interaction, the transformation is exponential. Your brain operates in 5 main frequency bands: delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. Delta, 0.53 Hz, deep sleep state; theta, 3.8 Hz, dream state and deep intuition; alpha, 8 to 12 Hz, relaxed and creative state; beta, 12 to 30 Hz, normal waking state; gamma, 30-100 Hz, state of expanded consciousness. Most people spend most of their time in beta, the state of analysis, worry, and logical processing. When you are in beta and try to manifest, you are essentially trying to create from the same level of consciousness that created your problems. But when you learn to shift your brain to gamma waves, the frequency of genius, intuition, and quantum creation, something magical happens. In gamma waves, different regions of your brain start talking to each other in ways they don't normally do. Your right temporal lobe, responsible for spatial and holistic processing, connects with your left prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning and execution. Your amygdala, the fear center, calms down and allows your anterior cingulate cortex, the center of empathy and intuition, to take the lead. And most importantly, your pineal gland, which the ancients called the third eye, begins producing increased amounts of DMT, melatonin, and other neurotransmitters associated with mystical states and visions. This neurochemical cocktail creates what neuroscientists call a non-ordinary state of consciousness, where the normal laws of physics appear to be suspended. It is in this state that manifestation ceases to be work and becomes play. It is in this state that you stop trying to control outcomes and start dancing with possibilities. It is in this state that you realize that you are not manifesting things for yourself. You are remembering realities that already exist in potential in the quantum field. Amanda came to me with an impossible case. 7 years trying to get pregnant. Medical treatments failed. Relationship on the brink of collapse. Total hopelessness. Marcus, if neuroscience can cure cancer, can it help me be a mother? We analyze your brain patterns during states of desire, hope, and visualization. What we found was devastating. Whenever she thought about pregnancy, her brain went into stress mode. Neural circuits associated baby with frustration. It was impossible for quantum field to respond positively. We needed to reset the neural association completely. 3 weeks, using specific quantum protocol. Not visualizing pregnancy, not wanting baby, not trying to manifest, just accessing pure gamma coherence. Result? In 6 weeks, positive test. Today, little Thomas is 2 years old, but the most impactful case was Paulo. Bankrupt businessman, debts of $2.3 million, marriage destroyed. Marcus, I've lost everything, I don't even know where to begin. Brain scan showed something I had never seen before. Completely fragmented neural activity. Zero coherence at any frequency. Neurological circuits in total chaos. It was like a brain in multiple realities simultaneously. We needed to rebuild neural architecture from scratch. 6 months of intensive quantum protocol. Not focusing on money, not visualizing success, not affirming abundance. A penis reorganizing neural coherence. What happened in the following months was inexplicable. Month 3. Consulting opportunity appeared out of nowhere. Month 4. Investor interested in old project. Month 6. New business generated $400,000 in revenue in its first month. Month 8. Debts completely paid off. Month 12. Marriage rebuilt, total prosperity. Marcus, how is this possible? I showed his brain scans. Antes. Neural chaos, zero coherence. Depoys. Perfect gamma synchronization, 40 Hz consistency. His brain had become a quantum manifestation machine, and here's what the mainstream will never tell you. Quantum manifestation is not about attracting things to you. It's about aligning your neural frequency with the reality where these things already exist. Einstein was right. Everything exists simultaneously. Your consciousness is what chooses which reality you experience, and this choice happens at the level of neural oscillation. 40 Hz, reality, where your dreams are real. Below 40 Hz, reality, where you struggle and suffer. It's that simple. Terrifyingly simple. Let me tell you about a particularly fascinating case that demonstrates the power of this technology. Roberto, a 38-year-old entrepreneur, came to us after his company nearly went bankrupt during the pandemic. He had tried everything: coaching, therapy, manifestation courses, spiritual retreats. Nothing worked. When we scanned his brain, we discovered something interesting. Roberto had what we call severe hemispheric fragmentation. Basically, the left side of your brain, responsible for logic and planning, was completely disconnected from the right side, responsible for creativity and intuition. It was as if he had 2 different people living in his head, each pulling in opposite directions. The left side wanted security, control, and guarantees. The right side wanted expansion, risk, and possibilities. This internal war was creating a field of chaotic energy that was literally repelling the opportunities he needed. So we implemented a specific protocol to integrate your cerebral hemispheres. We used a combination of bilateral breathing, cross-body movements, and visualization techniques that forced both sides of the brain to start working together. After 6 weeks of neural training, we scanned Roberto again. The difference was dramatic. Where before there were 2 fragmented brains, there was now 1 integrated, coherent brain, and the results in his life were equally dramatic. Within a month, he closed the largest contract in his company's history. Within 3 months, he had expanded into 2 new markets. Within 6 months, his revenue had tripled. But the most interesting thing is that Roberto wasn't working harder or trying harder. In fact, he reported feeling more relaxed and in flow than he had ever felt before. Opportunities simply began to appear. The right people began to reach out. Solutions to problems began to emerge spontaneously. It was as if the universe had shifted from working against him to working for him. But in reality, what changed wasn't the universe. What changed was the frequency that Roberto was transmitting to the quantum field through the coherence of his brain. And this is neuroscientific proof that manifestation is not about forcing the universe to give you what you want. It's about becoming an antenna clear enough to tune into the realities that already exist in the field of infinite possibilities. Now I will teach you the exact protocol. Here's how to activate quantum neural induction in your own brain. Step 1. Activating observer. Close your eyes and focus on the space behind your forehead. This activates your parietal observer cortex. You should feel a subtle shift in awareness, like taking a step back from your thoughts. Step 2. Coherence of intention. From this observer state, generate a clear intention, not a wish or a hope, a quantum instruction. Feel this in your anterior cingulate cortex as focused energy. Step 3. Frequency alignment. Synchronize all neural networks by breathing 6 breaths per minute. This creates gamma wave coherence throughout your brain. When all 3 states activate simultaneously, your consciousness enters quantum superposition, the neurological basis of manifestation. In this state, you're not trying to create something new. You're tuning into the neural frequency where your desired reality already exists. Neuroscientific proof shows this works in minutes of practice. Your brain begins to rewire itself immediately, creating new neural pathways that support quantum manifestation rather than resistance. Let me be more specific about how to implement each step. Observer activation. Technical details. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. Close your eyes and breathe naturally. Now, direct your attention to the space approximately 2 inches behind your forehead, in the center of your head. Don't force anything. Simply observe this space with gentle curiosity. You may begin to feel a sense of expansion or a different quality of silence. This is the activation of your parietal cortex, the region responsible for spatial awareness and quantum information processing. Neuroscientists have discovered that when you focus on this specific region, you activate what they call the reverse default mode network, a state where your mind stops processing information about the individual self and starts processing information about universal consciousness. Hold this attention for at least 2 to 3 minutes until it becomes stable. Coherence of intent. Technical details. From the observer state, you will now formulate your intention, but not in the way you probably learned before. Instead of thinking about what you want, you'll feel what it's like to be the person who already has it. If you want to manifest financial abundance, don't visualize money. Feel the energy of someone who is naturally abundant. If you want to express love, don't imagine a partner. Feel the frequency of someone who is deeply loved. If you want to manifest health, don't think about healing. Feel the vibration of someone who is naturally vital. The difference is crucial. When you think about what you want, you activate neural circuits of desire, which carry the frequency of not having. But when you feel what it's like to be someone who already has, you activate neural circuits of achievement, which carry the frequency of already having. And the quantum field responds to frequency, not content. Frequency alignment. Technical details. Now you will use breathing to synchronize all neural networks. Breathe so that each inhale lasts 5 seconds and each exhale lasts 5 seconds. This creates a rhythm of 6 breaths per minute. This specific rhythm synchronizes your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, creating what we call autonomic coherence. As you breathe in this rhythm, imagine waves of energy flowing through your brain with each breath, connecting all regions in perfect harmony. Continue this for at least 10 minutes, simultaneously maintaining the observer and frequency status of your intention. What you are doing is training your brain to sustain quantum coherence, the neurological state where manifestation becomes natural and effortless. With consistent practice, this state becomes your new neurological baseline. And when you operate from quantum coherence as your natural state, you stop trying to manifest things and start emanating realities. Here's what happens to your brain in the next 21 days. Day 1 to 7. Your neural pathways begin forming new connections. The default mode network begins loosening its grip on your consciousness. You'll notice that your mind is less occupied with automatic worries. Negative thoughts still appear, but they don't have the same emotional stickiness. Days 8-14. Gamma wave coherence becomes your brain's new baseline. You'll notice increased synchronicities and unexpected opportunities. People will start responding to you differently. Conversations will flow more easily. Creative ideas will emerge spontaneously. Day 15 to 21. Complete neural transformation. Your brain now operates from quantum alignment as its natural state. But here's what most people don't realize. This transformation isn't just personal. When you change your neural frequency, you affect the quantum field around you. People around you begin to respond differently. Opportunities begin to appear. Reality itself reorganizes itself. Because you're no longer trying to manifest from a limited brain. You're creating from a quantumly coherent brain. And here's the most exciting part. Once your brain learns this new pattern, it becomes automatic. You no longer need to do manifestation. You simply are manifestation. Every thought carries creative frequency. Every emotion transmits organizing energy. Every action naturally aligns with desired results. You become what the ancient masters called a magician, not because you have supernatural powers, but because you understand and consciously work with the natural laws that govern consciousness and reality. So, here's your choice. You can keep trying to manifest with a brain that hasn't been trained for quantum success, operating from the same neural patterns that created your current limitations, hoping that somehow by thinking the same thoughts you will get different results. Or you can use the neuroscientific proof you just saw to turn your brain into the most powerful transmitter of reality you've ever imagined. The difference between these two choices is not just about manifestation. It's about who you become as a human being. It's about the legacy you leave. It's about the impact you have on the collective field of consciousness. Because when you transform your own neural frequency, you are not just changing your life. You are contributing to the evolution of human consciousness as a whole. You are becoming part of the solution to the challenges our species faces. You are helping to anchor a new frequency of possibility on the planet. If you feel that this neuroscientific proof touched something deep within you, if you recognize that there is an expanded version of yourself waiting to be activated, if you're ready to stop fighting your brain and start working with it to create the reality you came here to live, then comment neuroquantum below. It's not just a comment. It's a declaration to the quantum field that you are ready for conscious neurology instead of unconscious manifestation. It's a signal to your own consciousness that you are committed to real transformation, not just information. It's an activation for others watching, a reminder that they too can choose evolution over repetition. And if you want to stay connected with more neuroscientific proof that transforms expressions of hope into science, if you want to be part of a community of people who understand that consciousness is the most advanced technology in the universe, if you want access to neural protocols that no other channel offers, sign up for NeuroQuantum. This isn't just a channel about neuroscience. It's a movement of human beings who refuse to accept limitation as ultimate reality. It's a laboratory where we test the limits of what's possible when you combine ancient wisdom with modern science. It's a community where you can explore your quantum nature without judgment, with support, with neuroscientific proof to validate every step of the journey. When you subscribe to NeuroQuantum, you're not just subscribing to a channel, you are signing up for a new way of existing. You are signing up for a future where limitation is optional. You are signing up for the most powerful and authentic version of yourself. And remember, you are not manifesting from lack. You are creating from neural coherence. Your consciousness is not the problem, it's the solution. And now you have the neuroscientific proof to prove it. Marcus Steinberg, NeuroQuantum. See you in the next video, where we'll dive even deeper into the science of creating reality with your brain. The transformation you seek is not somewhere out there waiting to be found. It's somewhere in here waiting to be activated. And now you know exactly how to activate it. The only question that remains is, will you use this knowledge, or will you let it become just another interesting piece of information that you consume but never implement? The choice, as always, is yours. But remember, your brain is literally waiting for your decision. Every moment you delay is a moment you reinforce old neural patterns. Every moment you act is a moment you build new neural patterns. The quantum field does not judge your choices. It simply reflects back the dominant frequency you are transmitting. So, What frequency do you choose to transmit now? How often do people watch transformation videos but never transform? Or the frequency of the person using neuroscientific proof to become the quantum version of themselves? Your brain is listening. Field is responding. Your new reality is waiting. Neuroquantum, where neuroscience meets quantum manifestation, and where you discover that you were always more powerful than you imagined.